So if you've read any of these books, let me know I can't even talk. Hey, this is Megan in the restricted section. Today I thought that I would talk about some of my favorite characters of 2016 so far. I'm sure I'll add to this list before the end of the year, but these are just a few of the characters that have kind of stood out to me over the course of this year in my reading. So I think there are 8 of them here that I'm going to talk about. The first one I want to talk about is Dana from Kindred by Octavia Butler. Dana is a woman who is living in California in the 70s. She's a black woman, and she gets involuntarily time traveled back into the 1800s to rescue her white male ancestor who is living on a plantation. And so she is just I think she's a very strong character, and I think that she shows a lot of quick thinking and cool-headedness. She's able to be very rational in what I imagine would be a really difficult situation to kind of keep your cool in and adapt to. Yeah, and I loved that book. I can't stop talking about it. So there's Dana. The next character I wanted to talk about is Fiver from Watership Down by Richard Adams. Fiver is the rabbit he has premonitions, and he's the one who warns the other rabbits in the warren that, hey, friends, shit's gonna go down. We gotta get the fuck out of Dodge. And they go and tell the head rabbit this. Head rabbit's like, y'all are crazy, I don't care. And they end up kind of striking out on their own. So I love Fiver. I love that he has that ability. I love that he's kind of meek and weird. And it doesn't seem like he really gives a shit. Like, he has his premonitions and he's going to act based upon those regardless of what anyone thinks of him. So I kind of like that. Plus, I mean, he saves everybody's ass. So, I mean, at some points in the book, it is a little bit irritating because he is, like I said, he's really meek and he's not the strongest rabbit, so sometimes he causes them some difficulties, but, I mean, ultimately, he's the reason why they survive, so I like Fiver. The next one is Bjorn, I think that's how you pronounce that, if not, fuck it, from The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, and Bjorn is a skin changer. He can turn into a giant-ass bear, and he helps Bilbo and the dwarves on their way, you know, to and from, you know, what they're doing. And he's just a cool guy. Like, he's not who you'd want to have as your enemy. He's super badass. But he, you know, when he becomes friendly with them, he is very hospitable and takes care of them and really watches out for them. He loves animals and lives in the forest among them, so I really dig Bjorn. Next up is Dr. Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park. I love him, and as I was reading, I was just picturing Jeff Goldblum, and it was awesome. So yeah, he is cool in the book as well as in the movie, but the movie has Jeff Goldblum, so there you have that. But yeah, he just delivers these really, like, intelligent, snarky monologues like he does in the movie, but I think it's a little bit more so in the book. But yeah, I love him. He's kind of, he always kind of struck me as the voice of reason in that situation, the one who was like, hey guys, what's he say? Got so caught up thinking about if you could do this, you didn't stop to think about if you should. So I like him. Next is Matt, or Matthew, from The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filer. Sue and I talk a lot about this book. I think it's a really great book. It's about a young man who is dealing not only with the death of his older brother when they were children, but also his mental illness. He's been diagnosed with schizophrenia. So it's his story of trying to deal with his symptoms and also his grief. And I thought it was a really, really awesome book, and it was, I think it was really well done, and I liked watching Matthew kind of try to make sense of everything and try to find peace with the loss of his brother, and I think that that's hard enough for people to do when they don't have a significant mental illness going on, because not only is he dealing with that, but he's having hallucinations where he sees his brother. He's dealing with those kind of symptoms and trying to get, the correct medications to deal with them, and that in itself is a tremendous battle. So I think that he's a very strong and insightful person, and he's a good character in that book. The next one is Carolyn from the Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. I've talked about this book quite a bit too, because it's just a really bizarre and crazy book, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's a unique blending of genres. Carolyn is one of 12 orphans raised by a man that they all call father. He adopted them, and he runs this library. And so each of the 12 children is assigned a different catalog or like category of knowledge. And when father goes missing, the children are they're grown at this point, but they battle for control of the library. So Carolyn is one of the 12, and she's pretty badass. She kicks some ass and takes some names. She's very clever. I don't want to give anything away, but she's very, very clever in the way that she goes about seeking control of the library. So I won't say any more than that, but I really liked her. Next is Alice from Alice by Christina Henry. This is an adaptation of Alice in Wonderland. What I liked about Alice is, in the beginning of the book, Alice wakes up in a mental institution, in an asylum of old. And she ends up escaping and going on this journey to kill the Jabberwocky. So in the beginning of the book, Alice is kind of a really timid, scared, kind of an empty shell of a girl. And throughout the course of the book, you see her develop and kind of remember and clarify who she is. And she is able to kick some ass at the end, which is pretty cool. So it's kind of cool to see her go from like this fuzzy, amorphous character, and then as it goes along, it gets clearer, the picture gets clearer and clearer until you have this like pretty strong, awesome character. So I dug that. If that makes any sense, I don't know. And the last one is Sissix from The Long Way to a Small Hungry Planet by Becky Chambers. Sissix is a really cool character. I think Sue and I have talked about her before as well. Sissix is from a planet where the culture there is a lot different than a lot of the other planets, so they have different views on like relationships and child rearing. Yeah, Sissix is a really warm and caring character. She's from a culture where parenting isn't really, you have children, but just because you have them doesn't mean they're your children. You have them, someone else raises them, you go about your life. And coupling, like mating and things like that, having sex, is not traditional. It's a way of showing intimacy and affection. So it's a lot different than a lot of the other characters in the novel. But yeah, she was a strong character. She was very smart, very warm and passionate character. So I really enjoyed her in that novel. And I liked that she was a non-traditional female character, which was pretty cool. So those are some of my favorite characters of 2016. I didn't go too in-depth with the plots of the books that these characters are from, because if you guys want to check them out, I don't want to ruin anything. So yeah, those are just some of the characters that stood out to me this year. Like I said, I'm sure I'll add some more of those to the list, some more characters to the list before the year is out, but those are some of my faves so far. If you've read any of these books, comment below and let me know who your favorite character was. If you love some of these same characters too, I'd love to hear about it. But yeah, so that's it for me today. As per usual, there will be links down below where you can find Sue and I elsewhere on social media. If you are not already subscribed to the restricted section, you could hit the subscribe button. That would be cool. And until next time, I'll see you later.